Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland. That should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark.
Yeah, I heard the U.S. president yesterday, and I think the U.S. position is unfortunately very clear on this topic. And our position is as clear as it has been all through. Greenland is, of course, not for sale. We are ready to defend every inch of NATO, including our own territory.
NATO is on edge as Trump reignites the Greenland debate, with a renewed diplomatic flare-up prompting concern among alliance members about unity, strategic priorities in the Arctic, and the political optics of a public spat during a critical summit. The U.S. president guns for the Arctic island during the NATO summit, raising eyebrows as Washington's renewed focus on Greenland injects territorial and resource questions into an alliance meeting meant to prioritize collective defense and deterrence. Trump's Greenland push widens gaps between NATO as Denmark fumes, deepening a rift with Copenhagen that views the proposal as a challenge to sovereignty and a needless provocation at a time when Allied cohesion is already under strain. NATO versus NATO soon? Copenhagen vows to defend every inch of NATO, with Danish leaders publicly committing to protect alliance territorial integrity, while signaling they will not tolerate unilateral attempts to reopen sensitive sovereignty debates. Denmark reasserted sovereignty over Greenland amid a NATO burden-sharing debate, pushing back against suggestions that control of the territory could be revisited and stressing that alliance discussions should not include sovereign sales or transfers. In Ankara, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen vowed to defend every inch of NATO, using strong language to reassure allies and signal that any attempt to reopen questions of territorial control would meet firm political resistance. Mette said this included our own territory, and the Kingdom of Denmark, naming Greenland, a clear reference intended to close the door on proposals or commentary suggesting U.S. claims or influence could replace Danish authority. Her comments came a day after Trump said Greenland should be under U.S. control, remarks that Copenhagen viewed as provocative and that prompted immediate diplomatic clarification about respect for existing sovereignty arrangements. Greenland, a semi-autonomous Danish territory, has been a long-standing point of friction, with strategic interest from other powers colliding with local and Danish preferences for self-determination and territorial integrity. Debate over U.S. control of Greenland has strained Washington-Copenhagen relations, creating awkward diplomatic exchanges and complicating cooperation on wider NATO and Arctic security issues. Frederiksen reiterated that Greenland is not for sale and firmly under Danish sovereignty, a succinct rejection of transactional proposals and a public reaffirmation of Denmark's control and responsibility for the territory. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said NATO burden sharing is shifting as Trump demanded, arguing that allied members in Europe and North America are stepping up defense contributions and operational responsibilities in response to U.S. pressure. Carney said Europeans and Canada are taking on more responsibility within the alliance, framing the trend as a rebalancing that could strengthen NATO's collective posture even as political frictions over sovereignty and policy persist.
Yeah, I heard the U.S. president yesterday, and I think the U.S. position is unfortunately very clear on this topic. And our position is as clear as it has been all through. Greenland is, of course, not for sale. We hope that all, including all allies, will respect the Greenlandic people's right for self-determination. And we are a sovereign state, and we need everybody to respect our territorial integrity and our sovereignty.
Is Denmark ready to militarily defend Greenland? An extraordinary premise, but is it ready to militarily defend Greenland if there is an attack from any party?
We are ready to defend every inch of NATO, including our own territory.
Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland, but it's an important part for the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships. And that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark. And when they wouldn't go along with it, and with all the money we spend to help them with Russia, and we don't have to spend any money, we could remove all of our soldiers out of Europe.
But, hey,
I mean, just so they understand, Greenland is very important for the United States, but it's not important for Denmark. In fact, when Denmark was overrun by the Nazis in less than one day, Hitler beat them out in one day, took over. They asked us to take care of Greenland. In fact, we took Greenland, and then stupidly we gave it back. We shouldn't have given it back to them because we're the ones that need it. We need it for protection of the world, not just the United States. And it's very important. It doesn't help Denmark, but it helps us. And it's very important for us. And again, they were defeated very quickly. Denmark was beaten in one day, less than one day, by the Nazis, by Hitler. And when this happened, they immediately switched it over to us. We owned it. We had it. We were taking care of it, and then we gave it back, which is, I don't know why. I wouldn't have given the Panama Canal back either, so what do I know? I certainly wouldn't have done that because China's trying to take over the Panama Canal, and that's not going to happen. So, but I just, it's interesting. I'm very unhappy with NATO, and yet this man is a great leader, and he gets it. He gets it maybe better than some of the leaders.
The Trump administration continues to advocate for closer U.S. control over Greenland, an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. The proposal has been repeatedly rejected by Greenlandic and Danish officials. President Donald Trump has previously argued that Greenland is important for U.S. national security interests. The island occupies a strategically significant position in the Arctic region. A Trump-appointed Arctic official reportedly offered an economic rationale for acquiring Greenland. The comments were highlighted in a report examining U.S. Arctic policy. The remarks were attributed to Tom Dawn and reported by The New Yorker. They focused on Greenland's seafood resources and supply chains. According to the report, Dawn argued that greater access to Greenlandic seafood could benefit U.S. consumers. He also suggested it could reduce reliance on Chinese-linked supply networks. New Yorker's Ben Taub wrote in his article, and I quote, "When I met Tom Dawn for lunch in Washington earlier this year, he declined to speak further on the record, except to articulate a narrow symbiotic vision for the future. My view is that the United States could take all the seafood Greenland could produce, and cut out the middleman, and keep it from China, and you could bring back all-you-can-eat shrimp at Red Lobster." Unquote. Red Lobster is a restaurant chain known for its endless shrimp promotion. The offer allows customers to order multiple servings for a fixed price. The company has run versions of the promotion for more than 2 decades. It remains one of the chain's best-known menu offerings. Red Lobster previously reported financial losses associated with the popularity of the promotion. The company cited higher-than-expected customer demand for the offer. Despite those challenges, the endless shrimp promotion continues to be offered by the chain. It remains a central part of Red Lobster's marketing strategy. The company has stated that its shrimp supplies come primarily from Asia and South America. Greenland is not currently listed as a major source for the seafood used in the promotion. He has also warned that Greenland could increasingly fall under Chinese or Russian influence if the United States does not strengthen its presence. Greenland occupies a strategically important position along some of the shortest missile routes between Russia and North America. The island is also believed to hold significant untapped reserves of rare earth minerals considered critical for advanced technologies. Melting polar ice is gradually opening new Arctic shipping routes, increasing Greenland's strategic and economic importance.